Well, welcome to another math class. We're going to continue our studies on Pythagorean theorem, which hopefully you will remember is only applicable, you can only apply it, to a right triangle. And what is a right triangle? It's a triangle that has a 90-degree angle in it. So we're going to do a little bit of practice first. I'm going to show you. This is a problem I gave in the last lesson that I know was throwing some people off. So I'm going to take it one step at a time. I've written the Pythagorean theorem down here in the bottom right hand corner so we can follow it. And all of these, none of these are A, B, and C. So what do we have to do? What I like to do is I take the number and I just label my triangle so I can actually see where are these numbers and which ones are A, B, and C. Remember, C, which is our hypotenuse, is the one that's across from the 90-degree angle. Okay, it's the biggest side because this is the biggest angle. So that's the C, which means the other two are A and B, and it doesn't matter which one. All right, A and B can be B and A. It doesn't matter. We're squaring them and adding them. Adding doesn't matter the order. So I'm just going to say, well, here we go. Y is 8. Okay. And Z is 15. So since those are A and B, I'm just going to write that down. A squared, okay, we're following this formula down here, plus B squared, which is 15 squared, equals C squared, or I guess I should say X squared, Let me get my eraser and erase that. There we go. My pen. So that's X squared. Oops, there we go. Now we got to figure out what these two numbers are. Grabbing my calculator. Turn it on, clear it, because the last time I used it, I didn't. All right, 8 squared, 8 times 8 is actually 64. I know that one in my head. 15 squared, I don't remember offhand. It's been a long time since I needed 15 squared. Okay, so 15 squared is 225. And all of that equals X squared. Don't lose that little 2. It's a very important bossy number, remember. Now we add our 64 and our 225. 64 to 225. And I get 289. And that equals X squared. So we have one more step because we're not looking for X squared. We're looking for X. So here's what we have to do. We have to take the square root of X squared, which gives us X. That means we're going to take the square root of 289. So I'll punch that into my calculator. And that means X equals, oh, where'd my pen go? X equals 17. Okay? Let's show you the other one that we did yesterday. You might have been confused on this one. Now remember, it can be any right triangle. And this is a really tall, skinny one. And they can be sitting in any direction. And we're going to see them in lots of different directions. So again, we're going to start out by labeling. If E is 9 centimeters, where's E? E is right here. So if E is 9 and F is 40 centimeters, what is the length of G? Well, G is our hypotenuse. Okay, draw your little arrow if you need to do that as a reminder. G is our hypotenuse, so it is C. All right, so if G is our C, we can write equals G squared. The other two are A and B. So we'll take our 9 squared plus our 40 squared, and that's G squared. So what do we get when we square 9? Well, use your calculator. I happen to know this one, 81. And what do we get when we square 40? Ooh, that's a big one. Well, if you're not sure, you just plug it in and square it. And what do you get? 1600. Okay, wow, another biggie, right? G squared. That equals all G squared. Now we add them together, which I can do in my head since they're easy. 1681 equals g squared. Okay, add the 81 to my 16. And now you just hit the square root button. Okay, we're going to take the square root of g squared because we're looking for g. We're not looking for g squared. Take the square root of both sides, and that gives us 41. Right, watch that again if you need to. Here's one for you to try. You know what? I'll even help you out. Where is that hypotenuse? Well, as soon as I find my pen, I'll show you. Take it from the arrow. There it is. The arrow points it out. Okay, so what happens if you're given the hypotenuse and one of the legs is missing? That kind of messes with our formula a little bit, doesn't it? We're going to look at the solution to that. Take a look what we have to do. Notice we have A right here because this is labeled B. So B is what's missing. This is what's missing. We have our A, we have our C, but we're missing our B. So how does it look when we set it up? Well, there it is. A 8 squared plus B squared equals 17 squared. So the first thing you're going to want to do, again, is square your numbers. So we get 64 and 289. But then what do we do from here? Because the B is on the same side as the 64. And I know this was a long time ago that you learned how to do these solving equations. But this is a very simple thing. We are just going to, where's my pen? We are just going to subtract 64 from both sides. So instead of adding the 64 to the B squared, since we don't know what this value is, we're going to subtract it from the C squared. And we'll get B squared equals 225. And then take the square root of both sides. I'm going to take the square root of this one, too. Alright, take the square root of both sides. And that will give us, finally, 15. Okay, so that's how we do it when we're missing a leg instead of the hypotenuse. Let's take a look at it one more time. First thing you want to do is label it so you can really see what's going on here. So R is 25. So I'm going to put that here. S is 7. Put that there. And T is what we want. Now, which one's our hypotenuse? R, T, or S? Well, look at your right angle and point. It's 25. So, once again, we've got one where we're missing a leg. So, let's say, we can even put it first. T squared plus, now which one's our other leg? Our S, which is 7. So, 7 squared equals 25 squared. First step is let's square these two numbers. 7 squared is 49. I have to say that was squared. And 25 squared, I forgot what that was. We just did that, didn't we? 625. Oh no, that was 15 earlier. 625. Now, we need to get this T on one side all by itself. So we will subtract our 49 from both sides. Minus 49. So that leaves our T squared all by itself, and it equals 576. Now let's take the square root of both of them. We get T equals 24. Now, so far, and probably for the rest of today's lesson, you're going to see a lot of whole numbers when we take square roots, but eventually you're going to see some decimal numbers. So we'll give you some instructions when that time comes, how to, what was I going to say? Round them off. You know, what place we want them to end up. Usually the 10th place is where I'd want you to go, but we'll worry about that when that comes. All right, here's one for you to do. Just figure out the first step. Let's set it up. Which of those is the right equation? Okay, now that you've set it up, and hopefully you understood that 40 squared plus e squared equals 41 squared. Let's label our triangle. 40 goes here. F is 40. G is 41. And G is our hypotenuse. So it was the e squared that we don't know, or the e we don't know. 40 squared plus e squared equals 41 squared. Now, which one of those is the right way to do it? All right, are we going to end up with e equals 1 or e equals 9? I'll let you choose. All right, I want you to do this one all by yourself from beginning to end. Oh, maybe not totally. I'll give a hint. Notice I'm going to label your triangle for you since you can't write on the board. Q is 53. P is 28. We don't know R. That's what we're finding out. And which one is the hypotenuse? One more time I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you anymore. Here's our arrow. This is our hypotenuse. Q is our hypotenuse. You can do it. I know you can. I would say good luck, but you don't need luck. You got smarts. All right, this is the last problem I'm going to do for you. We're going to talk about word problems. One of Madison's hobbies is to locate hidden geocaches. To find yesterday's cache, Madison was instructed to start at a water fountain at a local park. Then, the directions had her walk 30 yards due west and 16 yards due south. If this was the location of the cache, how far was it from the water fountain where she started? So let's take a look. What I like to do first is to make a drawing, okay? Make a sketch of the problem and then do our steps. So let's see. I'm going to do I think the water fountain right here. This is our water fountain. And okay, that's water spraying out. I'm really bad at drawing. All right. So it says here she started at the water fountain, said her walk 30 yards due west and 16 yards due south. That's the important thing. So west. Well, let me think a minute. Oh, that's right. Compass. Let's go west. So I don't have a nice straight tool, but I'm going to go west. And this is 30 yards. And then I'm going to go due south. And this is 16 yards. And I know it's totally out of scale. So they want to know this side right here. How far is she from the fountain right here? So if she went due west and due south, this is our right angle. So that means we're looking for our hypotenuse. All right, so that's our C. So we're going to set it up with a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, plugging in those numbers. 16 squared is 256. 30 squared, I think I know this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yep, 30 squared is 900. And that equals c squared. Okay, so we add those two numbers together. So we get 1156 equals c squared. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Oops, my 2 got cut off. And I get 34. So she was 34 yards. Is that what it was doing? Yards, yep. Yards away from the fountain when she found that cache. Okay. Here's one for you to give a try for. Now, pay attention. Do your drawing. I don't know, did I have you find the hypotenuse or am I having you find one of the legs? All right, last problem. You can do it. Take your time. Well, we got through it. Hopefully you're starting to understand a little bit better about finding the missing side of a right triangle. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to do all of your work today.